Hi everyone, so in today's video I've got another card for you that I'm going to be using the Expressions in Ink Designer Series paper. So I've done a kind of mini series using this Designer Series paper. Any of the cards that I've made you could recreate with any of your pattern papers. I've just chosen to use this particular suite and I'm focusing on making several cards over the coming weeks. So if you go to the Stampin' Up playlist here on my YouTube channel, you'll be able to find all the Expressions in Ink cards. So these papers are beautiful, all different kind of styles and patterns. Some are flat colours like this one here with the pinks and the greens and the pale papaya. But the reverse side of every single one of these 12 by 12 sheets has gold running through it. So this is what I would call the flat colour. When you turn it over, you've got these shades of green with the gold running through it. This one is pale papaya and pear pizzazz and it's got the gold running through it. Not sure how well it's going to come over on the camera. And then on the other side, you've got a flat kind of muted green. This one is pale papaya on one side and then you've got gold and white stripes on the other. And it basically just works its way through the pattern. They're all double-sided through the pack. They're all double-sided. They're all 12 by 12. Again, this one is this kind of like oil on water effect and it's got the gold running through it. And then again, you've got muted shades of green. This one I used, I think, in the very first card I did in the series. Again, I think this is Magenta Madness, pale papaya. It's got the gold, and then this one's just got this design running through the middle. So when you look through this paper pack, I mean, some of them completely just jumped at me and I thought, yes, I know what I'm going to do with those. But this one, I was a little bit unsure. So today I'm going to try and make a card using this pattern paper, and I think I'm going to try and incorporate the gold and white stripes. I am going to be using the accompanying die set, and I've already pre-stamped and cut with my ScanNCut some of the elements just to save some time. So I've stamped this one, I've used this in the middle and the dots in the middle of this big flower, and I've already stamped the thanks. And because this particular paper is predominantly green, and the greens that are in this paper are Pear Pizzazz, Evening Evergreen and Shaded Spruce, I thought I would try and concentrate just on the greens. So for my flowers, I've stamped my big flower in Evening Evergreen, which is one of the new ink colours for this year, which is in the paper. But we also have another green this year as well called Soft Succulent, and that's the colour I've chosen to use because all our colours all work together. And if you look, although this isn't Soft Succulent, you know, the colours do go together. So I'm trying to really just concentrate on gold and green and white. That's my thinking. I've not made this card. I'm literally going to make it with you. But as I said, I have already stamped and die cut my shapes. What I've also done, I've not got the dies that accompany this artistically inked or Expressions in Ink suite. So what I have done, I've pulled the dies which are the Pierced Blooms dies. They go with our In Bloom stamp set, and there's lots of leaves in here. So from our new gold and rose gold metallic paper, I've used the gold. I've die cut leaves from that Pierced Bloom pack. So I've cut 2 of the smaller ones and 2 of the larger sprigs. I don't know whether I'm going to use them all yet, but I've cut them anyway. So I'm going to start with a base card. So I've got a piece of basic white thick cardstock and I've cut it straight down the middle on the 8 1/4 side, scored it and folded it. That's going to be my base card. So I could have it as a card opening this way, or I can have it as a top opening card. I'm thinking top opening. So what I'm going to do now is cut a matting layer from the green to go on here. So I'm going to bring in my paper trimmer and I'm going to cut a layer that is 3 7/8 wide. And if you're new to paper crafting and card making and you don't know what the 3 7/8 is, I have got a video on my channel, I think it will be in the miscellaneous playlist, explaining what the 8ths and 16ths are on our paper trimmer. So that's 3 7/8 wide, and then I'm going to make it 5 5/8 tall. So that will sit on the front of my base card like so. Now from the stripe paper, I've got a scrap of it here because as I say, I've been using this paper pack quite a lot. And I'm thinking I'm going to have the stripes running horizontally. And I'm going to cut this down to 3 7/8 to make it the same width as the piece of green. And then I'm going to take it down, I think, to 2 inches. So we'll see how this looks. So I'm going to stick this piece of green onto the front of my base card like so. I've cut a die cut circle from our stitched shape dies. Now these have retired. They're the ones that had the circles, the ovals and the squares. But again, if you've got a ScanNCut, you can cut a circle. But I'm sure that you will have other dies, you know, that can cut yourself a circle. And to give you an idea, the size of this is, it's about 2 7/8. And I'm thinking that that's going to go like so, but I don't know whether I want to make this a bit smaller now I've seen it. So let's bring the trimmer back in, and I made it 2 inches, so I'm going to take it down to 1 3/4 inches. So just cutting 1/4 inch off it. So this is going to stick on here, and I'm not going to stick it centrally, I'm going to bring it down below centre just slightly. Only because that's just how I prefer it. So I'm going to put this just down here. Then my circle is going to go on top, and I'm going to pop this up on dimensionals. Just going to bring in my little box that I keep to put the backs of all my dimensionals in, because these things get everywhere, don't they? They get stuck to your sleeves and your slippers and all sorts of things. And I'm going to put that like so. Then I've got my big flower, and I've got my 2 little ones. Now I don't know if I'm going to use them all. Let's see. I think I'm going to pop the small ones on dimensionals, so I'll just put dimensionals on those just for a minute without sticking anything down, and just let me see how this is going to look. And then I've got all my leaves, which I'm thinking, you know, can kind of tuck in. The big ones can go behind the big flower, and then I've got these little ones that can just pop in. And I've also got a greeting that I've stamped somewhere. So I've stamped the word thanks in the evening evergreen, which is the darkest Evening Evergreen, which is the darkest of the green. And that's going to go on here somewhere, but I'm not sure where. But I don't know whether I want all these flowers now. So I'm just going to play around for a few minutes and see what I think. Decisions. Right, what I'm going to do, let me just bring in my other little trimmer. I'm going to trim down the greeting and let's see how big that is. Let's pick the big one up again, see if it works better with the big one. I think I actually prefer it with the big one and it's the same colour. Right, I'm going to pop this up on dimensionals and that's going to give me a starting point, hopefully. And then I can use these other flowers in a different card if I choose not to use them on here. So let's see if I put that one there. That one might go across the middle. So this has got to have a dimensional on this end. And then it will stick flat at this end. And then I think what I will do, just bring in my old gluey scissors that I use for when things have got adhesive on the back, because this has got adhesive on the back now. I'm thinking that if I stick that like so, these can go behind. Let's get some glue, bringing in my silicone mat. I can pop that in there, pop that one in there, and the silicone mat lets you get, you know, sticky all over what you want, but it won't stick on the mat. Okay, so that's going to stick there. I've got these other little leaves that I could use if I want to. Might stick that one in there actually, that looks quite nice in there. And just put a little bit of glue under there and pop that one in like so. So I've got a leaf left over and I've got 2 flowers that I can use on another card. Bring in some of our basic rhinestone jewels. And just scatter a few around, I think. So I think we'll have one there and maybe one here. So I've just got 3 little basic rhinestone jewels just for a little bit of added bling. And if that wasn't enough, I'm going to bring in my wink of Stella and just go over the green, which will give that a little bit of shine. You probably won't be able to see it on the camera, but it is there. Not sure if it will catch in the light or not. And then what you can do if you want, you could stamp inside just to kind of finish it off. What should we do? I'll do the Evening Evergreen again. I'll use the big flower, but what I'm going to do, I'm going to ink it up in the Evening Evergreen, and then I'm going to stamp it off and then just stamp inside so it's a lighter shade. So let me just get rid of this ink. So here's my card, all in shades of green and gold. So a regular piece of basic white for the cardstock, a piece of the designer series paper, a die cut circle, stamped the flower from the stamp set that accompanies the paper, the thanks, added a few gold leaves, a few rhinestone gems, and then when you open it inside, the theme continues through with the same flower but just stamped with a 2nd generation ink, so it's a lighter shade of the one I did on the outside. So that's today's project. I hope you like it. Please give the video a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe if you don't already do so, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.